48 hours for Napoli to decide on Darwin Nunees deal. Liverpool ace in limbo as Serie A champions weigh striker options this summer. Darwin Nunees may find out what his future will be sooner rather than later, as Napoli have set a 48-hour deadline to decide whether to pursue a move. 48H deadline for Nunees move. Napoli want Liverpool to reduce £51 million price. Targeting Udinese's Lorenzo Luca. What happened? Sport Witness have stated that Corriere dello Sport in Italy report the Serie A winners would like Liverpool to reduce their £51 million, Euro 60 mm / $70 OM, asking price for Uruguayan striker Nunez, and have essentially given the Reds 48 hours to do it, as they may move quickly onto 30 million euros, pound 25 mm / $35 mm, target Lorenzo Luca of Udinese after the two-day window. The bigger picture. Nunez is likely to want out of Anfield this summer after falling out of favor under Arne Slot, while the club would like to make back as much as possible of their £85 million, Euro 99 NM / $116 mm, outlay on the forward 3 years ago. Napoli have been linked for a while, but their desired price reduction may cause a sticking point for the Premier League champions, leaving them with a decision to make quickly about whether they think they can obtain the full £51 million elsewhere. Did you know? The 2024-25 season was Nunez's lowest scoring campaign since he arrived in Europe in 2019, with just 7 goals in all competitions under Slot. This is less than half the 18 he managed in Jurgen Klopp's final season, and a long way off his career best of 34 in his final season with Benfica. These stats suggest Nunez has the quality to thrive. He may just need to find himself again elsewhere. What next for Nunez in Napoli? It may soon become clear whether the 26-year-old will be making a trip to Naples, or whether his search for a new club will continue deeper into the summer. As for Antonio Conte's side, they already have a replacement lined up and are in a strong negotiating position in that sense. Liverpool handed Alexander Isak transfer boost as Newcastle United promise revealed. Newcastle United forward. Alexander Isak continues to be linked with a move to Liverpool. Alexander Isak of Newcastle United. Alexander Isak reportedly wants to leave Newcastle United this summer as Liverpool continued to be linked with a sensational move for the forward. The 25-year-old has been a revelation since joining the Magpies from Real Sociedad in a deal worth roughly £63 million in August 2022. In total, Isach has scored 62 goals in 109 appearances for the Magpies, which have helped the St. James Park outfit qualify for the Champions League on 2 occasions. While he scored in the 2-1 Carabao Cup final win over Liverpool at Wembley in March to end the club's 70-year wait for a domestic trophy. For Newcastle, though, such spectacular performances have come at a cost, with Isach now regarded as one of the most prolific marksmen in Europe, and as a result, has frequently been linked with moves to Liverpool, Arsenal, and Chelsea. Now, according to Italian journalist Gianluca Di Marzio, Newcastle's fears of losing Isach could turn into a reality, as the forward has apparently told them he wants to leave the club this summer. Providing an update on the future of the Sweden international, Di Marzio said, "For Isach, it depends on Newcastle, because the player talked to the coach and the club at the end of the season because he would like to leave, but Newcastle are not open to that at the moment. So it depends on Newcastle and Isak's discussion, if the club will be open to having him on the market. Newcastle is a tough club, and they want to keep their best players for next season, including Sandro Tonali. Isach would like to look at other options because, at the end of this season, he had the promise from the club and the coach, but Newcastle haven't acted seriously on that yet. Isach is under contract at St. James Park until 2028. Sporting Chief makes his feelings clear on Victor Jota's asking price. Federico Varandas has revealed he will not demand Victor Jota's asking price be met by any interested parties, following a phenomenal goal-scoring campaign by Sporting striker. Sporting President Federico Varandas has revealed he will not demand Victor Jota's full asking price will be met. Liverpool has been given a boost in its hunt for a new number 9, with Sporting Lisbon President Federico Varandas revealing that the Portuguese club will allow Victor Jota to leave below his asking price this summer. The striker netted a remarkable 54 goals in 52 appearances for Sporting this season, prompting widespread interest in the 27-year-old. A reunion with Ruben Amorim at Manchester United has been mentioned in recent reports, while Gyökeres has also been linked with a summer move to Arsenal. Liverpool's name has not been reported as frequently, with Alexander Isak, Hugo Ekitike, and Victor Osimhen dominating the transfer agenda. But Portuguese outlet Correio de Manha last week claimed the Reds have entered the race to sign the prolific Swede. Should that be the case, Varandas' latest remarks will have gone down well at Anfield, with the Sporting chief revealing Gyökeres is expected to move on this summer for a cheaper fee than his €100 million, $117M/pound 85M release clause. Sporting is very calm about Gyökeres, Varandas said during the club's General Assembly over the weekend, as per Ebola. Sporting does not need to sell Gyökeres. We have already passed the stage where we had to sell our best assets. As Gyökeres led Sporting to another Portuguese title win this season. In the same way that we do not have to sell him, we are still sensitive to Victor's dreams. Sporting has a commitment made by the president not to ask for the value of the termination clause and to be reasonable in relation to Victor's performance last season. If you ask me today, there is a strong possibility that Victor will leave. In the last few weeks, we have been keeping an eye on the market. I saw a player like Martin Zubimendi, who is 6 months younger than Victor, go to Arsenal for €65 million, $76M/56M. I saw 2 players being sold in the Premier League, Matthias Cunha and Brian Mbeumo forwards, who do not have the quality of Victor, in my opinion, were sold for around €75 million, $88M/pound 64M. We are talking about players who are 26 years old. So given the demands we make in relation to Victor's value, I believe he could leave unless he has the worst agent in the world, which I find hard to believe because he is one of the best footballers in the world. Federico Varandas spoke over the weekend about the possibility of Victor Gyökeres leaving Sporting. Varandas' comments seem to imply Sporting will demand a fee around the €80 million, $94M/pound 68M. But the president of the Portuguese champions added he will allow the player to leave for a cut price fee. I won't say what the price we're asking for. It was communicated to the agent, said the 45-year-old. But I can guarantee that Victor won't leave for €60 plus 10 million. Victor already knows this, and I want Sporting fans to know this and to take advantage of this summer when they're 2-time champions, when they've won a double, to celebrate and be at peace. There are only 2 scenarios. A club respects Victor's fair market value, and Victor will fulfill his dream, and from that moment on, will be ready to attack the targets. Or that club doesn't want Victor, and Victor, with a 3-year contract, stays at Sporting and will be very happy. Thomas Partey makes final decision on Arsenal exit with just 1 day left on current contract. Arsenal have been in talks with Thomas Partey over a new contract since April, but the 32-year-old Ghana international is now set to leave the club next week as a free agent. Thomas Partey is leaving Arsenal. Thomas Partey is poised to leave Arsenal after the club failed to come to an agreement over a new contract for the midfielder. The Gunners had been keen to keep Partey, but he will now depart when his contract expires on Tuesday. Mikel Arteta spoke publicly about his desire to keep the 32-year-old, who played a key role in the 2024-25 campaign. But negotiations have dragged on, and with his current deal expiring on June 30th, they have finally decided to call it quits. Arsenal first opened talks over an extension in April, but have already plugged the gap he is about to leave. Martin Zubimendi is joining in a £51 million transfer from Real Sociedad next month, and the Gunners have also bid £9.3 million for Brentford captain Christian Norgard, after Jorginho also departed on a free transfer for Flamengo. Partey has been free to speak to foreign clubs since January, and has been linked with a move to Fenerbahce, who are managed by Jose Mourinho, and has been offered a big money contract in the Saudi Pro League. He has been with Arsenal since 2020, when he arrived from Atletico Madrid for £45 million and has made 167 appearances across all competitions. Arsenal sporting director Andrea Berta, who used to work at Partey's old club Atleti, was the man tasked with agreeing new terms for Partey, but the club have now decided to walk away from the negotiating table. Asked in April whether there had been progress over a new deal for Parte, Arteta said, "Yes, there is progress with all the players. I'll leave that to Andrea and the club to decide and to talk about." Pushed on whether the intention is to keep Parte, he added, "The intention is very clear. I'll leave that to Andrea and the club to take a step forward." Mikel Arteta had wanted to keep Thomas Partey. Arsenal's move for Zubimendi has been delayed because Real Sociedad want to bank the transfer fee in the new football financial year, which begins on July 1st. The Gunners spent a long time negotiating with the Spanish side in order to secure a favorable deal in terms of spreading out the cost. Meanwhile, Arsenal are still looking to sign a center forward in the summer transfer window, with RB Leipzig star Benjamin Sesko the preference ahead of Sporting Lisbon's Victor Jota. Arteta also wants to bolster his options in the wide positions, with Crystal Palace's Eberechi Eze on the radar, along with Real Madrid's Rodrigo. They are closing in on a deal for Valencia defender Christian Mosquera, although their opening offer was dejected by the Spanish side. But a £5 million deal for Chelsea keeper Kepa Arrizabalaga will go through soon. Alexander Isak to Liverpool transfer twist as Chelsea agrees shock deal. Latest Liverpool transfer rumors and news as Chelsea look set to hand the Reds a possible issue in trying to land Alexander Isak, as reports suggest they have beaten Newcastle to João Pedro's signing. Liverpool could have suffered a setback in their efforts to sign Alexander Isak after Chelsea agreed a deal for João Pedro. Liverpool could be dealt a setback by Chelsea in their hopes of landing Newcastle United star Alexander Isak. According to reports, the Londoners have reached an agreement with Brighton Hove Albion to sign João Pedro. Multiple outlets have claimed that Enzo Maresca's side are set to beat Newcastle United to the Brazilian, with a deal worth in excess of £50 million. Pedro looks likely to become the latest big-money signing at Stamford Bridge, with Chelsea rivaling Liverpool as the busiest Premier League club in the transfer window this summer. The Reds have made a host of blockbuster signings, with Florian Wirtz, Jeremy Frimpong, and Milos Kerkez entering the fray. Meanwhile, 23-year-old Pedro could be about to join Liam Delap and Jamie Gittins of Borussia Dortmund in Chelsea's push to return to the summit. Liverpool have been tentatively linked with Magpie star Isach, following the suggestion that they may divert their scope towards attacking reinforcements with Darwin Nunees, the subject of links over an exit. Newcastle have reportedly slapped a £200 million price tag on the Sweden international's head. But speculation continues to link Liverpool with a move for the 25-year-old. The Northeast club are said to have made the Brazilian their key target for attacking additions this summer, but Chelsea appear to have gazumped their Champions League rivals to the former Watford man's signature. João Pedro of Brighton Hove Albion. TalkSport's Alex Crook reported that Liverpool are huge fans of Isaac, and their pursuit of the talisman could become easier if Newcastle land Pedro. However, with the reports from multiple outlets, including The Athletic and Fabrizio Romano, claiming Pedro is closing in on a deal to Chelsea, it may have a significant bearing on Liverpool's potential pursuit of Isaac. Liverpool have been very active in the market so far. They have signed Jeremy Frimpong. His Bayer Leverkusen teammate Florian Wirtz is on the brink of completing his medical and British record move to Anfield, Crook said, prior to Wirtz completing his move to Anfield. I did mention earlier in the week that Liverpool are keen to bolster their forward lines. They are huge fans of Alexander Isak at Newcastle, who wouldn't be after his stellar season helping the Magpies qualify for the Champions League and end a 7-decade wait for silverware. I think this would be a difficult deal to do, but it might get easier if Newcastle win the race for Brighton's João Pedro. That is a hotly contested one, a lot of interest from the Premier League and Europe. I know Newcastle fear Chelsea could beat them to the punch. João Pedro, someone Brighton would cash in on for a fee of £60 million to £70 million.